Alright, so welcome ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and start rigging our cartoon flower here. So the most important thing that we do before we go ahead and start rigging and actually skinning our model is we want to make sure that we have no nodes in terms of the mesh history or anything on our actual geometry here. So just go ahead and select everything. You want to come up here to modify. Um, Freeze transformations, reset your transformations, center your pivot, and delete your history. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that all in one fell swoop, and I just made a simple shelf button for that. So let me go ahead and show you what that command is. It's just a basic command. Let me go ahead and clear that, and you can see that the code is fairly simple here. It's just those 3 lines whenever I hit that button. Okay, so now what I want to go ahead and do is I want to have the ability to basically zoom in on any type of any part of the model that we'll go ahead and need whenever rigging this, and so I want to be able to hide each individual part of the geometry here. So we'll start off with the main petals. We'll just go ahead and select these, and let me go ahead and turn on our wireframe here, and we'll just go ahead and select these front ones. So we'll go ahead and create a new layer, call this the petals front main, making sure that that's on its own layer. Okay, we'll go ahead and do the same thing here for the back petals. Just select all of them. Go ahead and call this the petals back main. Okay, go ahead and hide that layer. We will go ahead and select these 2 outer stems. Okay, so we'll call this the outer stems. So you can see where it's, somewhat cryptic here, but it's not too bad. Okay, go ahead and select these 2. Call these the inner stems. Okay, call this the main stem. Okay, come up here, and we will just add the face geometry here. I'm not doing the entire head on its own layer simply because I want to have the ability to go ahead and zoom in on those teeth and the eyes. So we'll just call this the eyes. Okay, and we will go ahead and do our teeth and gums here. Since these won't necessarily get a real rig, so I can just simply add both top and bottom here to its own layer, and then I can add the tongue to its own layer. So we'll call this the teeth and gums master, and then we'll go ahead and add our tongue layer here. Just calling that the tongue master. Okay, and then we'll call this the pot layer. Okay, so we'll just leave those on. Just make sure that those are gonna work. So now you don't see any geometry that's in our scene here. Okay, so let's just go ahead and bring all these back real quick. Okay, we're gonna come up here to shading, X-ray our joints, jump over here to our front view, and I want to do the same thing here, X-ray our joints. So now we're ready to go ahead and draw out our joints here. So we'll just come up to our animation tab, select our joint tool, and what we want to go ahead and do here is we want to draw the joints out basically in the same flow of the geometry here. So we will draw one here at the beginning, draw one here at the second edge, the third edge, the fourth edge, the fifth edge, and then the end. Okay, and if we jump into our perspective view here, you can see that this is going to come out a little bit behind the model, and this is fine. I'll just go ahead here and move these all into place whenever I go ahead and get these placed in. So let's come back here in the perspective view. Just hit Y to repeat our joint tool. Okay, go ahead and draw these out. Just making sure that I draw them out correctly because I want those bends to actually be at the edge loops. I don't want it to be in the middle. And if we do this right, we won't necessarily have to paint any weights. I mean, we might have to paint some weights on the pedals, but for the most part, we probably won't actually have to paint any weights. And I'm a big believer in if you draw your joints out correctly, you won't really have to draw actually paint any weights. So let's just continue to draw out our joint chains here. And you're going to see where this is going to get a little bit heavy in terms of the actual joint placement, but this is okay. You'll just have to sort of keep organized, and you'll see that I'm not naming any of these joints, and that's because the joint systems are low compared to what is the overall actual model. The only difference here is these are only going to get skinned to each individual piece here, so there's really no sense to me for me to sort of rename those joints. So let's just go ahead and draw these out real quick. But if you're doing something like a character mesh, you really will have to go ahead and rename your joints here. So let's just go ahead and select all these joints, and I'm going to go ahead and just move them into place here. I may just have to rotate these a little bit. Okay, that's good. So now we just need to go ahead and select our joints, and we're just simply going to mirror them over. So come up here to skeleton, mirror joint, and let's just take a look at our option box here. And I'm going to mirror it over in the YZ axis, and I'm going to do the behavior so that the behavior is going to be the same on both sides. Okay, so now if I go ahead and select this joint chain along with this joint chain, let me just move that out of the way real quick. If I rotate these in a certain direction, you're going to see where they're going to rotate in the same direction, and that's exactly what I want. Okay, so we'll just go ahead here and select each individual one here, and we will just go ahead and mirror them over real quick. And I'm just hitting G there to repeat the last command that I've used. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select these joints. And I'm just trying not to select anything that I don't want selected here. And we'll go ahead and add those to the same group that the pedals main is on, as you can see there. So now let's go ahead here and jump back into our front view, and we will go ahead and draw out our second round of joints here for our pedals, just using the same process as before. And this is where our spline IKs are going to come into play here, so we got to make sure that we draw out the joints with that extra joint on the bottom, and you're going to see what I mean here in a little while. So let's just go ahead and draw these out real quick. Just repeating the joint tool command so that I can, simply continue to draw these in. Just hitting G, and I'm repeating that joint command and just drawing these out. And I'm not really, rushing through this. I mean, I'm making sure that I draw these joints out specifically at that edge loops, those edge loops, so that this is going to deform correctly and in a way that it's not necessarily going to give us a headache and having to paint weights. If we can avoid painting weights as much as we can, that's basically what I want to be able to do. I don't necessarily want to have to paint weights on each individual pedal, and that would get to be a pain in the butt. So we don't necessarily want to have to do that. We just want to draw our joints out in a way that it's going to give us the the best feedback. So okay, making sure that those are all placed in there properly. Probably have to go out just a little bit more. Okay, so we'll go ahead and mirror these as well. Same thing in the YZ axis, and using the same behavioral mirror instead of using the actual orientation. So let's go ahead and select all of these. Okay, we'll go ahead and add that to the pedal's main back. Go ahead and turn that off. Okay, and now we'll go ahead here and draw our joints out for our stems. So we'll just go ahead and jump into our side view here, and we'll do the main stem first. Let me go ahead and turn off the inner stems and the outer stems real quick, just so I can see the edge loops here. And I just want to draw it out so that this is actually going to work properly. Okay. Hit enter to complete our joint tool there. Just making sure that this is going to be in the middle right there. That's where I want it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select this entire joint chain and add that to the main stem. Okay, we'll go ahead and turn that off. Go ahead and bring back our outer stems here. Jump into our front view here, and we will go ahead and draw out our joint chain for this as well. And you can see that I'm sort of drawing it, the joint chain right in the middle here. And I'm definitely drawing in a little bit of extra joint geometry, and this is just so that I get that proper deformation here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we just need to basically place this correctly. So let's come up here to what looks like this joint, and just hitting down, move it a little bit, hit down, move it a little bit, hit down. I can probably go back that way a little bit there, and that's fine. So just go ahead and mirror that over as well. Might actually have to adjust this a little bit more because this geometry is a little bit, I don't want to say badly modeled, it's just modeled in a very specific way there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select these two joint chains, add those to the outer stems here. Go ahead and turn those off. Go ahead and bring back our inner stems here. And let's go ahead and draw out our joint chain for this as well. Okay, so same sort of process here. Use these two right on top of each other. This way it's going to deform well, and it's also going to be able to globally scale. Let's go ahead and just draw these out real quick. Go ahead and turn off our face geometry real quick. Okay, so now we have that joint chain in there. Just make sure that this is all lined up properly. So we just need to come up here a little bit to that one. Go ahead and just move that over. One more. And then the top, I think there is fine. So let's just go ahead and select that joint chain. We'll go ahead and mirror that over. And that looks like it's placed properly. Okay. Now, you'll see that I'm not going to draw out any joints for the dirt here. I don't necessarily think we have to have the dirt actually animatable or deformable. So we can go ahead and skip that here. Bring back my face geometry. I'm not going to be adding any joints to this at the moment, and that's because I'm going to be using a plugin to go ahead and actually rig the face here. And I will walk you through the process when we go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and bring back the rest of our geometry and our joints here. So now you can see where we have a entire joint chain here for the model. In the next lesson, we'll go ahead and come back and begin our process of actually skinning these and creating our NURBS control curves for this character. This is definitely going to be a little bit time consuming in terms of the process, but I hope you guys have fun watching this. and come on back.